Hi, thanks for joining me as I share my son Jonathan's story with you. My name's Steve Southworth, and our story begins in April of 2004. John had always been a healthy, active kid. We played baseball, hockey, basketball, never sick a day in his life, really. But about a month after his 15th birthday, John started having kidney pains, started complaining of just not feeling well, and it got so bad that we actually had to rush him to our emergency room. And after looking at him, they really couldn't find anything wrong with him and decided, well, maybe we should just send him home. And, we just didn't feel real comfortable about that. And so we decided to take him to UCLA, maybe run some tests and see what was really going on. We thought, you know what, he's probably just got a bad kidney infection, some antibiotics, we'll be home, everything's going to be fine. Well, that couple of days turned into quite a journey for us. By June, John's body began to change and he started expanding. His body was filling up with fluids, and they found blood clots in his kidneys. They decided to start him on dialysis and see if they couldn't flush his system out, get him back to normal. He just kept getting worse and worse. By September, they had increased their medications. They started him on plasmapheresis. They even started him on chemotherapy treatments. And by the end of September, John actually quit eating. He wasn't able to keep food down anymore. And he just kept getting worse and worse. And by November, he had spent 2 months in the ICU unit of UCLA. His liver had grown to the size of a large watermelon. The clots had just stuffed themselves into his liver, and they weren't able to go anywhere. So they did an emergency surgery on him where they placed a shunt around his liver so the blood would have a place to flow. And they said, if we don't do this, we're going to lose him, and we're going to lose him soon. And they really gave John little hope. And the doctors weren't able to identify his disease. They didn't know what it was. And really, they just kind of threw their hands up and said, you know what, we've done all we know to do. We don't know what else to do. We need to look for some alternatives here. And so we decided to send him to Children's Hospital, have the doctors there look at him and see if maybe they could decide what was wrong with John. When we got him to Children's, they did identify his disease. It was called Catastrophic Antiphospholipid antibody syndrome, one of the rarest blood diseases in the world. Only 80 people in the world have this disease. And he is only the second adolescent in the world to ever have this disease. And most of the people have died before they really even realized that they had it. During his time in Children's, they gave him another chemotherapy session, which lasted about 3 weeks. And one of the bright spots of John's hospital stay was he was visited by celebrities like Jay Leno and Brad Garrett. The Disney kids came and spent a lot of time with John. Even Santa Claus came and spent time with John. But at the end of his time there, the doctors at Children's really said, you know what, we've done everything we know to do also, and you might as well take him home, let him be comfortable. We're just going to have to take this a day at a time. We don't know what's going to happen with John. Knowing that the doctors had done all they could do, we brought John home Christmas Eve 2004. Make-A-Wish Foundation heard about John, and so in May, John did a Make-A-Wish shopping spree. John loved music, and so we went to Guitar Center. They showered him with gifts. He got guitars, amps, drums. It was quite a wonderful day for John. You can imagine after 13 months of being sick, John needed all the bright spots in his life he could get. They told John that his adrenal system was destroyed, never to work again. John was always going to have to be on heavy steroids. His blood pressure was 170 over 100 all the time on the blood pressure medication, and John had to give himself 2 blood thinner shots every day in his thighs or in his stomach, and sometimes he couldn't even do it. He'd say, Dad, could you give me my shots today? And so I would have to give him his shots, usually in his arms, and it was very distressing as a parent to watch my son go through those difficult times. John was on 2 pages of medications. When he was in the ICU unit of UCLA, his lungs collapsed. He was on chest tubes. He was intubated for almost 3 weeks. We really thought we had lost him several times. We had relatives come thinking they were going to be saying their goodbyes to John. So I was praying for a miracle for my son. And in July of 2005, I heard the story about mangosteen juice. It's a little fruit from Thailand. A man said to me, you know, there's been a lot of results from this. You might want to put your son on that. It could help him. And I said to myself, I've got nothing to lose. I've got nothing to lose. And so we tried the juice. And after 3 weeks, I noticed that John was changing. I noticed that the effects of his steroids were diminishing. I noticed that John had energy level. And for him, that was phenomenal. He had gone through a period of depression. He hadn't been in school since April of 2004. And for John to say, Dad, I'm feeling really good. We were pretty excited. But after 6 weeks, changes in John's body were so evident. All the effects of the steroids were gone. His blood pressure was normal, 120/58. It was phenomenal. His energy level was high. We were so excited. And we started learning more about this juice. We would take him back to Children's Hospital every month, and they would say, oh my gosh, he's doing so great. And month after month, they would say, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it, because John's doing great. And after about 3 months, they were able to take him off of his blood pressure medication. After 4 or 5 months, they said, this is a miracle. His adrenal system is functioning perfectly. And they took him off of his steroids. And the biggest miracle to me was in September of 2006. They took John off of all of his blood thinner shots. He didn't have to give himself those shots anymore. And after a full year of going back to Children's, they pronounced John 100% healthy. They started calling him their miracle boy. And we were so thrilled with the phenomenal results that were happening in Jonathan's body. We've gone from nearly no hope at all to all the hope in the world. And I believe with all my heart that it was the mangosteen juice that was the miracle in John's life. That was the miracle that I was praying for. Don't just take my word for this. Check it out for yourself. I think that you'll find, with all the science and so many positive results experienced by so many people, you'll be pleased as well. Thanks for listening. Get with the person that shared this presentation with you for more information about this marvelous juice. Hi everybody, we're back. You know, I thought it might be really cool for you to meet my son John. He's 18 years old, he's healthy, he's doing great. And hey everybody, this is my son John.
Hi.
So, how you feeling, John?
I'm feeling good, feeling great actually. I'm back to normal. I go to the gym every day. So I just do whatever I want now because I'm totally healthy.
Yeah, you like the juice?
Mm-hmm. I love it. I drink it every day. It's a part of my daily life. In the morning, in the afternoon, and then right before I go to bed. And sometimes I just drink it for fun.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's our story. This is living proof. 18 years old, gives me lots of grief. I love it. Thanks a lot.